A fellow wrote a song called Sudbury Saturday Night, in which the rhyming goes something like this, where the women play bingo, the men get stinko, and nobody's thinking of Inco on a Sudbury Saturday night. I'd like to introduce the author of that song, Stompin, Tom Connors. Tom?
Hi, Elwood. How are
Good
you?
to see you again. Sit down.
Nice to be
You
back.
came fully regaled. I'm glad you did. That
yeah,
hat was
ready to
part of
go.
the costume, isn't it? This is Stompin' Tom, who I think has one of the most unusual histories in Canadian show business of anyone I have ever known. He is grassroots right down to the soles of his shoes, which is the charm of your work, Tom. I hope you realize that if you ever change, you're through. Remember that. Don't
I
change.
couldn't change if I wanted to,
I know you
because I
couldn't.
wouldn't know how.
Which is why I said that, because you are a most down-to-earth person. How is it going with you? I hear that you have no home, no
since
permanent address anymore. Is that right?
Well, I have to have an address for the, like, you
For the
can't
checks
you
to
can't
come in.
drive in, no, but you can't drive in Ontario without having an Ontario
Permanent abode.
driver's license, and to have a license, you have to have an address. So I have an address for driving around, but outside of that, and I have a place where I get my checks, as you say.
Yeah. But
But
you live in a
outside of
truck.
Yeah.
You drive around. What is it? A trailer?
Well, you know, I'm on the road all the time, and my belongings are there, and I just move around, and everywhere I go, I just take out what I need, and
I'll bet you travel light. You don't gather too much
No, I
impediment
don't.
to weigh you down.
no, I don't, and there's no cobwebs on anything I got either.
I'll bet you. Everything he has, he uses, which is the way to live, I'll tell you. You are you still at the Horseshoe? Is that where you're stopping?
Yeah, I finished there Saturday night, and I might say that Waylon Jennings is down there, too. He does a real bang-up job, and I know he's got a lot of fans around, so I like to tell the folks on the air there, wherever the camera is around here, I can't see it, but the folks out there, I'd like to say drop down to the Horseshoe and see Waylon. He's really doing a real good job.
He's Waylon, all right, right?
Yeah.
You never got married, Tom?
No, not yet, but you never can tell one of these days, you know.
Have you got a girl picked up that'll travel around in a truck and have no permanent abode?
That's the trouble.
That's kind
I
of hard to
can't find
find.
one like that.
Yeah. Always on the move. No permanent address. Yeah. Yeah. There's some advice from the audience. Did you hear what he said? He said, "Don't get married,"
Don't get married? Okay.
He's probably still married.
I'll listen to that.
and has been
take
for many
heed.
years. Tom, would you like to tell us again how you started? You're from the Maritimes. I think it's
Yeah,
Prince Edward Island, right?
Yeah.
And you've done about everything. You literally are a traveling man. You perhaps have had every job that there is possible for the average guy to have throughout the country.
Well, I've been all over the place, and like I've seen the country blade of grass by blade of grass, so to speak, because if you see the country driving, I found out since I got a truck that if you're in another province and they see your license, Ontario, or as long as they know you're a tourist of any kind, then they put on their best face and a big smile and the whole thing, you know. They figure, oh, this guy's got a couple of bucks, you know. So they're very nice to you. But if you go into the same places as a, you know, as a bum, and you have to make out, then right away you find out what people are really like. And actually, they're not that bad when it comes down to it.
Didn't you wind up in Timmins with 35 cents in your pocket at one time?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I got the 35 cents
You
from
kept
the
the
guy in the
35?
car. No, the guy that gave me the lift into Timmins in the car had given me a buck.
Yeah.
And so I got a hamburger and a cup of tea or some damn thing with it, and I turned around. I had about 35 cents left, and I went in the hotel to get a beer, and that's where it all started. I had to bum a nickel from the waiter to get enough for the beer, and he said, well, if you play that guitar you got there, he says, and sing a couple of songs, I'll pay for the beer for you. And so I sang a few songs, and the boss heard me, and first thing you know, I got a job.
How long did you stay there?
I was there 14 months, and 6 of those 14 months I was working for $35 a week. No microphone, no stage, no nothing, just stand in the corner and beller it out, you know. So it was a long, narrow room, and you had to holler from one end to the other.
Had you already written several of your own songs even by that time when you started?
Oh, yeah. I wrote my first song, I guess, when I was about 11 years old. And I've always wanted to get in this business every time since I first heard Wolf Carter on the radio. You know, we had a battery radio back home, and so I heard Wolf Carter and Hank Snow and them guys. And, of course, back home on the potato farm, if you don't want to pick potatoes and if you don't want to fish or you don't want to do anything like that, well, you're no good, see. But all I wanted to do was bang on a guitar and sing. So I had to leave home to get anywhere, and I traveled all over, and then finally Timmins was the spot where I got my first job.
Is it true that the Horseshoe in our town, that you are the most popular artist that plays there,
Well,
even compared to the Nashville
I
group?
don't know. I wouldn't want to say that.
I'm
really,
not embarrassing you about this, but I have heard this, that when Stompin' Tom is booked in there, you can't get in the place, which is the reason. I think it's the answer to what I call sincerity, naturalness, and down-to-earth projection of personality. This is why you're so popular. You have never changed in your ways from the days when you used to tramp around and, as they say, ride the rods up and down the country.
Well, I make it a point, too, to go down and talk to all the people, table by table, and every chance or every second I get. Like, when I go in there, my job starts as soon as I walk in the door, and it's done when I leave. There's no such thing as a break in between, because I talk to everybody, and I'm, getting along with everybody at the same time. I'm trying to find out what they're doing and what their story is and everything, and who knows, next week I might have a song about that same thing. So
this is true. You pick up ideas and bits of conversation and incidents, and you write songs about them. This is how that Sudbury song came about, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah, and I got a new one now, like Aunt B. Martin, who has the Nashville room on Spadina. She promotes these bus tours down to the Grand Ole Opry, And so last week I wrote a song about the bus tour to Nashville. So she was in there the other night, and I hit her as a surprise, and her eyes opened up, and she thought that was a great thing. So.
That's marvelous. Is it true that Bud the Spud is banned in Idaho?
That's what I heard.
I've heard this. I've heard that this is a true story.
There's parts of New Brunswick it's banned, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, around, maybe I shouldn't name the place, but there's a place where they just won't play it on the radio, because the fellow told me that he said, look, if we ever played that record here, we can play all the rest, but if we ever played that song here, he said the Potato Growers Association would come in here and burn this building right to the ground. So,
speaking of trouble, didn't you get into a hassle in some place where they almost beat you up? You were singing a song about something?
Oh, yeah, this happened in a couple of places, but the one place was Kapuskasing.
Yeah, Kapuskasing, that's the place.
Yeah, I wrote this song called The Resore Crossing Tragedy, and it was a true story on the lumberjacks when they were on strike up there in '63, and they had a big shootout. And it was 3 men killed. There was 8 pretty critically wounded, and there was about 34 hospitalized with minor gunshot wounds and things like this. And some of the fellows still have the bullets in them, but they couldn't take them out at the time.
Were they there at the time you were singing this song?
A lot of them were there, yeah.
Good.
And the thing is, I think it was 5 or 6 guys got me in the washroom before I was to go on stage to sing this song on a Saturday night. And they pushed me around quite a bit, and they told me, if you sing that song, buddy, that's it, you've had it. So I went out anyway, and I got up on the stage, and I said, a lot of people don't want to hear this song, even though you haven't even heard it yet, and you're saying that it's no good and all this and that, but I said, I don't care what happens to me from here on through. I said, I'm singing it.
We got to go. It's 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
No, finish it up.
About 80% of the people walked out, and the boss was mad at me, and he says, well, to cut a long story short, on Monday night, though, the place was jammed. They were lined up around the corner and everywhere to get in to see Stompin' Tom sing this song.
He's got a story about the Black Donnellys you got to hear, too, about the graveyard. We'll go into that the next time you come and see us. Will you come and sing on the show sometime if we can arrange it in the future?
I'd love to, sure.
Stompin' Tom calling. Connor, we'll be back in